For any Yankee fans looking for a podcast to listen to, I suggest you check out NYY Sports Talk.
Are you listening?
Tune into the fellas.
Damn. Uh. Yeah. Uh. Yeah.
There's no BS, there's no drama. You just feel like you with the fellas talking baseball.
Uh.
Welcome back. This is episode 234 of the NYYST podcast. I'm your host, Christian, as always, joined by my co-host, Chris.
You.
What's up, bro?
What's up, bro?
Not even going to bother trying to be original or cute with anything.
Nah, let's just fucking cut right to it.
He just dipped out again, so whatever.
He went to go yank. He went to go yank.
So we're recording here Monday night. We couldn't record last night. Chris was so tired that he didn't want to record, that he created a fake internet outage in his town.
Yeah, you can go on fucking Optimum if you want. It was bad. It was actually, I was nervous because it wasn't even back today. We fixed it. We got it fixed. We had to get in the horn, fix it ourselves.
So if you would like Chris to continue to create fake internet outages, then I guess don't leave a 5-star rating and review. I guess we didn't get enough this week, so Chris was like, oh, I'm just going to pretend the internet's out.
Well, I got to shout out my boy. Speaking of 5-star ratings and reviews, I got to shout out my boy Owen, who edited his review to say, I want Chris's life to go in the gutter. and I take that as a term of endearment, really. I take it as love. And also, I got to shout out someone else. Not going to get into her comment. Diana Avila. Crazy amount of respect for your review. If you're on Twitter, reach out to me. I'd love to discuss it further. Okay? Thank you. Crazy amount of respect for it, actually.
Oh, yeah?
And I mean it.
Okay. I guess...
While you're going to leave a 5-star rating and review, you can check it out.
I'm sure it's terrible. If that's
it's actually a very fair review that I'd love to just get my point across on. That's all.
Did it personally attack you?
It wasn't a personal attack. I thought it was very well written, and I thought it was very fair. And if you're not going to leave a 5-star rating and review, I think she wrote a review that is respectable, and I have a lot of respect for it. And that's all I'll say. Okay. Now listen, this episode, as you know, is sponsored by our patrons. I don't know if I shouted out our last patron last episode, so I'm gonna do a little shout out here. Our newest patron, give me one moment. Okay. All right. Is Ken. And then no last name. He was just born with a first name like Cher or like Madonna. He's just Ken.
Oh. Interesting.
Just Ken. And we'll get to some of our patron topics they want to bring up later. But if you want to support the show, this is what the show comes down to right now, is our patrons and supporting us, and pumping out as much content as we can. That's going to get amped up even more as the weeks progress. Go to patreon.com/NYYST to support the fellas. And that's it. Patreon.com/NYYST. Boom.
So,
bing,
in case you missed it during Chris's drunken stupor last week, we did announce that if we get 250 patrons by the end of the season, that we will guarantee the show will continue in 2022. So that's our goal. Keep supporting the show on Patreon. We've had a little issue with new episodes of Mike's on late because apparently, and this is like a real world situation, is that there might be a little bit of a health issue with John Minko, the real John Minko. So we're kind of like holding off on.
Yeah, we don't want to be like
doing parodies right now until we know what's going on. So at least you can join me. I've been on there active the last couple of weeks doing some post games.
I think I'm gonna hit one up tomorrow night if you don't mind.
No, go ahead. And I don't really feel like doing one tomorrow, to be honest with you, because we're
Okay.
recording tonight. So
What if there's another no hitter?
then I'll let you handle it.
Wow, bro. Thanks, man. Thanks, bro.
So we haven't recorded a full episode in since before the start of the Texas Rangers series. Yankees took 3 out of 4 there, which I mean, we don't have to get into it, but what a wild series that was. That we said they were going to take 3 out of 4. The game they lose is the Garrett Cole game. Corey Kluber is a starting pitcher, and he throws a
Corey
no
Kluber.
hitter. And I just want to briefly say, because like we said, we don't want to get into the Texas series because it's a week old already, but we know that there's been an abundance of no hitters this
Yeah.
season, but it's still cool when
It's
your
still a no
team.
hitter, dude.
It's still cool when your team throws a no hitter. Like if you called me like in an hour and be like, so and so is pitching a no hitter, I'll probably be like, nah, I don't care. Like last year or 2 years ago, or whatever, I would have immediately turned
See,
on
I
MLB. Now
disagree. I would turn it on regardless. I think it's still. I don't
you
care how
didn't.
many people do it.
Yeah, but you didn't do that when I told you Joe Musgrove was pitching a no hitter.
I don't think I was awake when you told me that.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Okay,
Now you're not awake.
I'm not awake.
No, I mean I don't like normally you'd rush to go and see a no hitter. I don't know if I would rush to go see one now because there's so many have been thrown so far this year.
Okay.
But if it's still your team, it's still a cool thing. Like
Yeah,
they
but
could throw 80
let's put into context a little bit too. Like if you texted me and told me that there was a pitcher who was very, he was an elite guy and missed the last 2 years of pitching due to injury and was kind of questioned, his talent was questioned coming back. I don't care what team he's on, I would turn that shit on. I'd be
no, you
pumped up
wouldn't.
about it. Yes, I would. The Corey Kluber story is a good one.
If I told you you
And hopefully
Darvish
it's
was
just getting
pitching,
better. Now fuck you,
if I told
Darvish.
you, yeah, you Darvish.
Fuck you, Darvish. You want to know why? Because Yankee fans ruined you, Darvish, for me after they were pissed off that the Yankees didn't get him. So I'm over the you Darvish hype.
What do you mean? I don't. How did
Ye-
Yankee fans?
Yankee
How
fans
did
were all
Yankee?
pissed off when Cashman didn't drop his pants for you, Darvish.
What kind of bothered me about you Darvish is that he had to get traded with his personal catcher. Like,
Mm.
look, we get it. Garrett Cole's got a personal catcher. We all know that. We're all okay with it at this point. But if Garrett Cole got traded, does Higashioka have to go with him?
Did you hear about Garrett Cole? He actually left the game in Corey Kluber's no hitter. He stormed off because he was really pissed off about Higashioka and Corey Kluber throwing a no hitter together and then having a
He,
battery bath after. Did you see
I
that?
that yeah, I saw that.
Jealousy in the clubhouse.
No, there's not.
Jealousy in the clubhouse. But according to Boone,
We are going to start banging.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they've actually started banging or not yet, but they're on a 6-game winning streak. They just swept the Chicago White Sox yesterday, Sunday. They beat them 5-4. They had the walk-off walk from Judge because that was one of the worst bullpen games of the year for
oof,
the Yankees.
yeah,
Everybody that came into the game gave up a run.
the second
Uh,
worst. The worst one was against the Nationals. That first game
maybe,
against the Nationals.
yeah, that was yeah, I guess.
They had a 4-2 lead or 4-1 lead or some shit. 4-3 lead maybe in the sixth or seventh.
No, I don't think they were ever winning that game.
Okay. You want to make a bet?
Go ahead, look it up, Chris. I don't think they were ever really. I don't know if they were winning that game. I think
While
Mo
I
Isaac came in to hold the game where it was, and it just.
while I look this up, can we just comment? I'm sure the stadium itself in Texas is gorgeous, but I cannot imagine having to watch 81 games from that ballpark on TV.
But didn't you get kind of?
Don't
I mean, yeah, no,
not
I get, it, but
really.
you didn't
Not
get
really.
used to it by
No,
the
I
third
hate it.
game.
No, I hate it.
I didn't say I liked it, but
I
your eyes
guess. I
your eyes
guess I got
adjusted
used to
to
it.
it.
It's bad. I'm shocked more people aren't talking about it. It's really bad. Really bad.
Pause the show for a second. Hello.
Okay. Little pause there. And you were right, by the way. It was 3-3 in the sixth, seventh, and then in the eighth is when the Yankee bullpen gave up 6 runs, and then 2 more in the ninth. So you were right.
I know I was right.
Still an
Thank
awful
you.
game though.
I didn't. Yeah. Well. So Before we actually get into a couple different things here, I do want to let's go over this because I don't know how many people listening to the show have been back to Yankee Stadium. So I just want to give a little experience from yesterday. I was at the game Sunday, first time back since Game One of the Division Series in 2019. And if you have a chance to go to the stadium this homestand, I suggest you do it because they might change the COVID protocols to the point where they really open up the stadium when they come back after this homestand. Um, so I suggest you go and catch a game this week
And you
because
suggest, even if you're vaccinated, to say you're not.
you don't have to say anything.
I thought you have to buy tickets in certain sections. I don't get it.
No, no, no. You don't have to buy ticket. If you buy a ticket in the vaccinated section, then they'll ask to see your vaccination ID. But if you don't, they don't bother you.
But what I'm saying is, you liked the fact that you didn't have a million people around you. Like, it
Right.
was
It
just
was
enjoyable not to have to worry about someone sitting on top of you.
And look, it's not has nothing to do with being afraid of COVID, not being afraid of
No,
COVID. It's just the fact that you got to go to a Yankee game, and you wouldn't think, but there, 14,000 people, especially since what we've been dealing with in the last 2
seemed
years,
like a lot.
still seem like a lot. There was still energy in the ballpark. People were into the game, and if you sit in a non-vaccinated
It
section,
feels like you're at the Trop.
there's nobody around you. So you're only sitting with the people that you go to the game with.
Wow.
So where we sat in section 106. We were in right field. So we had the last four seats in a row.
I have a question. Did you see the dude with the pink mohawk in front of you?
Yeah, I seen
Yeah, I
him.
saw him on TV. I was looking for you.
So then all the other seats in a row have ropes around them. So no one else can sit there.
Wow.
So then they move it down 6 feet, and then it's those four seats 6 feet away from you in the next row, and then it's by the time you get to 6 feet, it's the last four in the next row. So there's only four people in each row, and they're staggered.
Mm,
So it's nice. There's
nice.
nobody around you. Um, the only thing that the Yankees did to make you feel some sense of normalcy is it still takes an hour to get food.
Right. They got to make you feel like you're at home still.
But you can go. But remember, you ever go? You know what it's like when you go in the team store and like you're shoulder to shoulder with
Yeah,
people.
it's
There's
awful.
there's nobody in there.
Again,
You
has
can
nothing to do with the pandemic. It's just awful being around that many people.
you can just sit. You can walk around nice, leisurely, take a look at things. It was a really enjoyable experience again. So I don't. I'm not going to get there again before the end of the homestand, but if they come home and they really haven't increased, if they haven't increased it to 100%, I'm going to look to go again.
They probably will. They
They,
probably will.
they probably will.
And I said that. I said by the summer they would. And I think by that time we definitely will have full capacity.
Right. So I'm just saying, like, if you want to go and have a relaxed experience without, because I get anxiety when people are on top of me,
Just because you hate people.
just because I hate people,
Right.
and I can't deal with the people's stupidity, which they don't know which way they're coming, which way they're going.
Well, the one
You
guy
know,
a couple years ago was telling his son that Derek Jeter must be injured or something because he wasn't in the lineup.
yes,
He'd been retired for 4 years.
you,
So that's not even a joke.
no, that happened. I
Okay.
couldn't. I remember that
And we
exact.
and we wonder why kids aren't watching baseball anymore. I mean, because of fucking parents like that.
So if you definitely, I
Irresponsible.
would, I would definitely recommend trying to get out to the stadium this homestand before they really increase the COVID protocols. There was about 14,000 people there yesterday. The
That's a
crowd
good
was
amount.
the crowd wasn't. That was this past week. They must have increased it
They did.
this for this homestand because I think they were only getting about 11 or 12 previous to
Yeah,
that.
it was
So
just under 11.
So it was good to see, man. It had a good energy to it. I mean, it's not like you're going there and you feel like you're in a ghost town. There's still people around,
Yeah.
but you can. And look, nobody pressures you to do anything. If you don't feel comfortable, wear your mask. Which you know what, I'm not taking any chances right now because I got a baby at home. So if I was in line to get food, I had my mask on. But when we were walking around, no one's around us. I don't wear it. So when we, it's funny though because we pull up and the good lot that we always use,
Yeah.
it's closed. So you got to use the garages.
You're talking about you're talking about the good lot by the river that you just walk across.
the train station.
Yeah.
It's closed.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. But you know
But
they've been doing
it's probably not too bad getting out of the garage though.
No, it wasn't bad at all. There was still a little bit of traffic. It still wasn't bad. I think it's taken over an hour to get home from there at times. I
Oh
think it
yeah,
took about 40 minutes.
that's not bad.
Uh what was I saying now? I completely forgot. This
Getting
happens to
you
me.
had to park. You went to go park in the good lot. You had to park
All right,
in.
so right, so you're in the garage. That's another time I wore it is because you're and that how little that street is so narrow.
Mhm.
And that's the one time people are on top of you. So I'm just not taking any chances when I know people are going to be on top of me.
Okay.
So, but then once you cross the street, you get to the stadium, it's open, you feel a little bit more relaxed and comfortable, right? So we're walking to the gate to get in, and my cousin goes to the usher, do I need to wear a mask? And the guy basically laughed at him and he goes, we follow the CDC here. He must have known we were from New Jersey.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Only people from New Jersey are asking that question.
So he goes, but see her pointing at this young lady. She has to
Mm.
take your temperature, which when I say that she takes my temperature, she didn't click the button when she took my
She went,
temperature,
okay, okay, go.
basically.
It was like it was like post 9/11 at the stadium. They would pat you down. They'd friggin' make you take your shoes off. And then once enough time passed, they were just like, okay, let me check your bag. Okay, you're good. Like you could have anything in your bag. They didn't care. And it's kind of like that now. They're just clicking. They're not even clicking the thing.
Yeah. So and if anybody's not vaccinated and uncomfortable, or you're vaccinated and uncomfortable, but you really want to go to a game, that's also my point is to go
Just
now.
go now. So let's just lead up to this real quick because I'm sure it was awesome being back at the stadium. Biggest part of it of the hype outside of not being there for a year is that this team's finally fucking winning, right? So I know we don't want to get into the Texas series, but let's just say this. They lose the first game coming off of a loss, right? And it's almost like at this point you're still scared of this team because once they lose two in a row, you're like, fuck, they're still not really hitting and you don't know if they're going to go back in a downward spiral. Those three fucking wins, man, especially after losing after Cole, that I don't care how they're winning games at this point. First of all, this pitching has been phenomenal. Okay? I don't care how they're winning games right now. When the bats have come to life a little bit. So there's been some good things there. But who's been the catalyst? Who's been the offensive catalyst?
That that's Gleyber Torres.
And is it not friggin' refreshing to see this kid go out there and start to put together a season that we said he absolutely had to do this year?
See, now knowing that he had COVID in December or whenever it was, you wonder if it was because it affects everybody differently.
Yeah.
Do you wonder if he was like behind a little bit coming back? I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm just saying, like,
Well, we don't even know if he had symptoms and stuff, but it's
no,
taken him out.
from
It's
what I
taken him,
understand,
he was
from what I
got hard.
understand is that when he was in the first time he got it, I believe he was sick.
Yeah. And I'll tell you this from personal experience because I had it pretty bad. Couldn't move for you can't move for 2 weeks. It's like the worst flu you could possibly imagine if you had the flu. And then so that's 2 weeks you can't even see anyone. You're quarantined, and then you take a while for your body to build back up. Maybe you're right. Maybe you got something there, but even defensively, here's where I say it's a lot of it's mental with Glaber, and we know this. Even defensively, he looks so much more confident. I mean,
Oh,
he
because
really does.
he's been throwing an actual major league for. I mean, Mike's forward,
That's
but
okay. Yeah, no, you're right.
he's been throwing
A
actual guys that
defensive,
know how to
yeah.
play
Okay,
first base.
that's fair. But he just looks like he's comfortable in his own shoes. Finally,
The power's not there, but
who
that's
cares?
okay.
We don't want the power.
But that's
We
okay because
hey, we never asked for the power. We never asked for it.
the guy's coming up in big spots and getting hits. I mean, you can't. I mean, that's what you want out of him. You don't need to see Gleyber Torres swinging from his heels to hit 38 home runs.
Well, here's the thing: if Glaber Torres isn't going to be the power guy, and he's going to be the guy who, what's the biggest gripe every fan has about this lineup? It's
They hit too
home run
many
or
home-
bust, right? Okay, but now let's really break it down for a second. Glaber Torres isn't supposed to be a power hitter. He's supposed to be the guy that you're seeing right now, and he's becoming that. When DJ finally picks it back up, which I know people are on DJ, rightfully so, but he'll get there first of all, and second of all, he's really not having a he's having a terrible year for DJ right now. Not
I don't. He's not
just
having a. He's
I
not
know,
having a good year.
and he'll turn it up. He'll turn it up. Then you have a guy like Gio who has some pop too, but he's not a power guy. I mean, Gio's the guy who's going to put the ball in the gap too. So you're starting to see some guys come around that are doing what they're here to do, as well as mixing in the power guys, and that's when this offense explodes.
Yeah, I mean, you can't be having a 694 OPS and being DJ LeMayu. I mean, that's just not
No.
acceptable. It's not. I mean, I love the guy, and I tweeted this the other day. I think he was. See, I get nervous when the Yankees do shit like this
Mm.
because
The one they benched him.
we've seen he's not been good, right? We can all agree to that. He's not
Yeah.
been good. He DHs Friday, sits Saturday. So now you're saying to yourself, okay, he's not playing well. A DH day followed by a day off, that's a little sketchy.
Right.
So you're wondering if something's wrong with him.
Yeah, you made me nervous when you pointed that out.
We haven't heard anything. I mean, I think they tracked him. He ran 96 feet to make that play yesterday. You know that play that he ran
Man,
into
that was phenomenal. Phenomenal. Look, I don't think he's hurt. I think they're just trying to give him some days off, maybe recoup. They need him to pull together, man. This team's not going to win a championship without DJ LeMayu being DJ LeMayu at some
Well,
point.
that's what I tweeted during Saturday's game. I said, right or wrong, the Yankees offense is not, and they go out and they score 7 runs, which, believe it or not, is tied for their third highest run output this year, 7 runs. But whatever, they're winning.
We'll get to that in a minute, but get to your.
I mean, they're winning games. So I
yeah,
mean,
get to your tweet because I want to make a comment on that.
this team is offensively is not going to take off until DJ LeMayu gets hot.
It's
he's,
true.
He's the catalyst of this whole entire thing.
It's true. It's great that Glaber's been, but over time, and especially in October, you need DJ to be there. You need DJ to be DJ. But part of my comment before when I said it, I'm just glad they're winning games. I don't care how they're doing it, is because when you look across Major League Baseball, the Yankees, it's not like this is exclusive to the Yankees right now that they're struggling offensively. Now, every team has been struggling, but not every team has been pitching the way the Yankees starting pitching has been. So you got to take it for what it is right now. They're winning baseball games, and this pitching has been absolutely brilliant. It really has been.
See, that's the thing a lot of people are bringing up that I don't know, that I can't completely get on board with, that the offensive struggles are not exclusive to the Yankees, but the Yankees are like 20th or lower in every offensive category. So obviously
Yeah, but there's not a huge gap. Of course, there's room for improvement.
There's room for improvement here. If you're telling me that they're hitting 230 as a team, but because that's second in the league because everybody else is, that's fine. But when they're like 20th, then they got to be better than that.
Yeah, of course.
Because honestly, like we're glad they're winning. We're happy they're winning. But I mean, you can't sustain winning 2-1 ball games, 2-0 ball games. They during the 6-game winning streak, they've won 2-0, 2-0, and 2-1.
I know.
So
I know. And
those
five,
were
5-4. I mean,
and
it's
those
still
were
a 1-run game.
Those were 3 consecutive games. They scored 2 runs. And I mean, well, obviously one of those was the Kluber no hitter, and then one of them was that was Herman pitched 7 scoreless. And the Montgomery, that was a big bounce back game for Montgomery Friday night.
Huge. He looked fucking great. Might be his best regular season start of his whole career.
See, but that's the thing, that you were just in a different place last week. So I didn't want to fight you because there was no sense in fighting you about it because you were just where you were.
No.
And no.
But
No. Listen, the thing with Jordan Montgomery that I wanted to tell you, but because you were just like, oh, Jordan Montgomery sucks. This is who Jordan Montgomery is. We're not relying on Jordan Montgomery to be a top end of the rotation pitcher.
Shaking my head.
Why?
Shaking my head. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is I don't care what you expect out of any of your starting pitchers. When you have a lead against
right,
the
I'm not absolving. I did not absolve him from that. But what I'm saying is that this is the type of pitcher Jordan Montgomery is. When he doesn't have his good stuff, it's ugly.
Well, it can't be that ugly against a team like the Orioles.
Yes, I'm not denying that, but you understand what I'm trying to tell you right now.
Yes.
When he doesn't have his good stuff, it is ugly. It's unwatchable. Like you want to put your own head through the wall. That's how bad it is. But when he's got his four pitch his mix, he's got four pitches. When his mix is working, and I think his fastball was up a tick. I think he was sitting around 94 on Friday night.
Yeah. I think
He's
that's a
good.
huge difference too for
He's
him.
good. He's got the stuff, and we've seen him show up in big spots. Now you
Mhm.
want to
Yeah,
obviously
he has.
so you combine that when he gets his good stuff, and then he's got the stones to handle the situation. It's not somebody. He's not somebody that I want to throw out. You know,
No, listen, that's not what I was trying to say. I was just saying that it was so bad. I would have been okay with an irrational move. I'm calling it irrational if they were to just dump him. Of course they're not going to do that. Of course that would be stupid. I'm just saying that's how ugly it was. But we got to say this about the starting pitching. Outside of Tyone, which I guess the Yankees are just going to be a little more conservative with him. They know he's still building up. They got 5 good innings out of him without giving up a run. Right? He didn't give up a run.
did you hear anything from Boone why he lifted him after
I didn't.
after
I
80
didn't because
pitches?
I wasn't able to listen. Are you asking because you didn't
I
get
didn't
to
hear no because I didn't hear it. By the time I
uh,
got to the car, did
my?
you
I'd
ever?
have to imagine because there's no stories out there that he feels sore or anything like that. I automatically assumed and have to imagine at this point that the Yankees were happy getting 5 innings out of this guy. They have a fresh bullpen, and and at this point in time, they're going for the sweep here at home. You just want to get him out of there and start as much as you're building his arm. You got to build this guy's confidence a little bit.
Right,
He gave you
because
5 strong.
right, because I also tweeted this when I was at the game is that I said that I'm intrigued to hear why Boone lifted him after 80 pitches, but then I also went to say that I can pretty much verbatim tell you what he's going to say. We didn't want him to go through the lineup a third time.
Right,
We wanted to get him out there with a lead. I had my bullpen ready and rested. Right? I mean,
right,
I
right.
can't
That's
imagine that
it.
I can't imagine that he would have said anything else.
No, and that just brings me to my point where like they were able to do that with Tyone because the Yankees starting pitching in games that they're pitching well, which has been obviously over the last 6 games has been every single one. The starting pitching's going deep. They're efficient. You had obviously had a complete game out of Kluber with the no hitter.
Everybody else went 7.
Everyone like even when Cole sucks, he's still going deep. He's still keeping your team in the game. And it's like, what more could you ask for at this point from the starting pitching? Honestly,
Well, think about this, right? Tuesday night, Jamison Tyone allows a run in the 5th inning. That was the last run allowed by a Yankee starting pitcher.
I know. It's crazy. It I tweeted the other day before the start of the final game of the Sox series that they went 40 innings giving up 1 run.
Now they've gone
That's
third.
that's not the starting pitching. That was all the pitching.
I
It
believe
was
that the
40
starter
innings.
streak is up to 35 consecutive scoreless innings.
Yes, it is. That's phenomenal.
So I was talking to my buddy John, who we've got to get him on at some point
John
to talk.
Canton.
Yeah, we got to get him on at some point to talk about the Jays. I didn't even realize that they're playing the Blue Jays this week. I mean, I did, but I didn't. Plus tonight's a busy night for him anyway because Monday Night Raw is on. This is
Bro.
he's no he's working, dude. What do you want
I
me
know
to
he's
say?
working. Man. He's working.
So I mean, I don't know. Maybe we could figure something out in a couple weeks. They'll be I don't know where the hell they'll be because it's an away series. So who the hell knows where the Jays are playing at that point? Maybe Buffalo. They
Yeah.
got to. I mean, come on, open Canada
Yeah,
back.
come on. Open Canada. We know it's a fucking joke up there. But just open it back up.
So so I
You
again
lost you? You sound like Boone.
no because like now I forgot what I was saying again.
Canton,
go
Canton,
go
getting him
back,
on. Blue Jays. Blue Jays coming to town. Starting
rewind.
pitching's been phenomenal. 35 straight innings.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm
He was
lost.
he was telling you something on Twitter. You were getting to what he was saying to you on Twitter because I saw you guys going back and forth. You
Yeah, I
had a
don't
little
know.
thread.
Yeah, but we weren't arguing. We were just talking because
No, yeah.
the Blue Jays are calling up their top pitching prospect to pitch on
Right.
Wednesday,
Right.
and they just got swept 4 games by the Rays. The Rays are on an 11-game winning streak right now.
Yeah. You know what? I got to say one thing real quick. Jeff Passan, that douche, tweeted out how great the Rays are. No one cares. No one cares. Rays fans don't even fucking care, Jeff. And you know what? I wish more than anything that the Rays were coming to New York instead of the Jays right now. I now we have to wait a couple series. I want them on an 11 game winning streak. You want to know why? Because fuck the Rays. That's why.
Well, yeah, I mean the This is I hate these schedule quirks. Like the Yankees are playing the Jays, and then they go on the road for 3 games before they're home again for 7.
It's a very we've been saying this for the last couple years, I guess outside of last year, because obviously that was a fucked up schedule. But like the scheduling's been so I've been just scratching my head at a lot of the like it's so division heavy to start the year. And then they
And,
got then they got the
but, and,
Red Sox,
but
the
then they didn't
Sox.
play to Boston for 2 months.
Right. And then they don't play these guys again until like August. I mean, come on, what the fuck are they doing, man?
So it's all in the algorithm.
It's all in the algorithm.
Yeah, I don't know what I had a thought, man. I don't know where the hell it went.
I don't know. Maybe it'll come back to you eventually.
I doubt it. So yeah, so I mean, it was a good weekend for the Yankees. They swept the Chicago White Sox, who came in with the best record in the American League. If you looked at all their numbers, they were 1 or 2 in every offensive category, and I guess this just goes to show that good pitching beats good hitting, and that's why I, a lot of people look. The Yankees outfield situation is a mess right now. It's not as bad as the Mets. We were watching a little bit of that game
Oh yeah.
earlier. Um, but people are like, "Oh, the Yankees should trade for an outfielder. Don't worry." No, look. If a situation comes along, the Yankees should not turn their heads to trading for, not just to get an arm. I'm talking about good, top end, number 2 type starting pitcher. If that something like that becomes available, they should not turn their head to that.
Well, listen, since we're on the topic, do you want to just integrate some of the patron questions into what we're talking about?
Okay.
Okay. Because one of the first questions here from Kasem was he wants to talk about center field options. Who would be realistic options for this year and going forward? And Rob Skeen says he asks, are the prospects you'd like to see fast tracked? Are there prospects you'd like to see fast tracked to help with our outfield injuries, or rather trade for a cheap vet?
Look, I know when the Yankees were in Texas, there was, I guess Brian Cashman called about Delano De Shields Jr., which I'm not interested in at all. Like, no,
Mm,
no, I'm not interested in a situation like that. Like, yeah, the guy can go out there and play adequate defense, but like, I don't want a 4A player. I'm sorry. Like, let's not waste our time making those moves. Like, let's bring up Florial at this point
yeah.
now.
Well, like here's the thing, right? Let's just start here. Who called the Aaron Hicks season-ending surgery? Because that's what it's going to be. You called it 2 weeks before they even said anything. Okay, so you knew that was happening. Now let's break down the options that we have. You have Brett Gardner, who's never a bad option. He's good defensively. He's starting to swing a better bat right now. And you love to put him out there here and there. But again, you don't want him to be your everyday guy. Frazier, as long as Frazier keeps going out there and having 3 for 4 days, he's still going to be a good option for you. He's again playing a much better outfield. I didn't get to see it on TV, but I heard John and Susan were saying that on that ball. You were at the game, the home run.
My section was right there, but I was actually
Yeah.
not in my seat at that
Well,
point.
apparently the fan might have didn't interfere because it was in the stands, but if that fan didn't go after the ball, Frazier might have had a chance. But
Because
John and
I
Susan,
told you that it still takes an hour to get food, and
right? So you were
and
missing it.
yeah, so you know what? And like you said, you got to get a stale Yankee Stadium pretzel. You have to.
Yeah. So you have to do that, even though they're hard and like fucking
Like
stale. You got to get one
you,
because they're the best.
it was a little bit better. Maybe it was because I hadn't been there in 2 years, but it was a good pretzel, solid. I give it a
No,
B
listen, I
plus.
I the staler and the more solid, the better for me. Um, but apparently, John and Susan felt that if Judge were out there, which apparently he doesn't play the field anymore, which we talked about before we came on air, he would have had it with his height easily.
I
So
did see the replay. I could see where they would make that
yeah.
distinction.
So regardless of that, let's put that aside. Frazier's been playing a much better outfield. So really, you're not going to go out there and just get some cheap vet to plug into this lineup at this point. how much longer, to your point now, how much longer does Florial need in AAA? How much longer, really? Because we've been hearing about this kid. Yeah, he made his debut last year, but like I feel like they're just like scared to bring him up and tell him he's got a spot here for right now.
Yeah, but here's the thing: if you're not going to play him every day, then he needs to stay in AAA. I
But
agree
why
with
not
that.
play him every day?
But that's what I'm saying. If they're not going to play him every day, you said they're afraid to tell him. You said they might be afraid to tell him that he's got a spot. Okay, well, he needs to come up here and be an everyday player. You can't platoon him or play him twice a week. Like if he's up here to be the starting center fielder.
Can I give you my 2 cents of why I think the Yankees are delaying him coming up and hoping that Frazier continues to hit?
Why do they want to trade him?
Yeah, I think if Max Scherzer is available at the deadline, you know the Nationals, even though he's a rental, they're gonna want to get a guy who's proven himself in the minor leagues and who's on the cusp of being a major league baseball player. You got if you're gonna trade Scherzer, I don't care if it's a contract year, I don't care if it's a rental. You're gonna want to make your fans happy at that point and at least make them excited for the future. Florial's a guy that you can do that with. They're obviously not going to get rid of Dominguez for Scherzer, right? But Florial's a guy that right now you can make an argument is a good chip
And that,
if they're gonna give the Yankee tax on a Scherzer rental trade.
yeah, right. And that's another thing I wanted. Jason Dominguez should not play for the New York Yankees in 2021.
No, no, no,
No,
that
because
can't
first of
happen.
all, he didn't play last year. He needs to go and play baseball, not in the major leagues this year. And number two, I seen him play, and he's in a level right now where they're playing on basically high school fields. So
Yeah,
why don't we let him go and play on actual minor league fields here
right.
before we worry about calling him up?
And why rush it? Why rush it at this point? Right? Like, let the kid fucking gain some confidence down there. He's so young. He doesn't have any professional experience at this point. Let the kid, just like you said, if you're going to bring a Florio, you want him to play every day and not miss minor league at bats. You bring this kid up and he starts shitting the bed for 2 weeks. He's not doing anything for this team. It's just, there's no positives there. He's not ready. Florio is. Florio is ready now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really need to see much of him at AAA. Like if he's healthy, bring
But
him up.
and that's what goes back to my point of like why I feel the Yankees are reluctant to bring him up at this point. If they do, then obviously I'm wrong, or maybe he takes off and he becomes even more valuable. But at this point, I think the Yankees are scared to show their hand here with Florial because they're anticipating a trade deadline move where he's a big chip.
I mean, it's a possibility, but I mean, I don't know where they are really going to go to get an outfielder. I mean, you get asked this question a lot, like who do you see them trading for? And I don't know because right now we're sitting here as May 24th. Willie Adames got traded last week, and you want to say, "Oh, Willie Adames," but even a player of his caliber, it's rare to get traded this early in the
Yeah.
season. Like even a Mike Tauchman for Wandy Peralta trade when it happened is rare for it to happen at that point in the season.
Yep.
So we still got to see which teams are in it, which teams are out of it. Who becomes available. We don't know that right now. So yeah, I think the Yankees should make a move for an outfielder because, be honest with you, you could, and I think. Go ahead. There's another question about Miguel Andujar. So I saw it. Just ask it before
Yeah.
I
Because
make
I,
my
I
point
really
here.
wanted to get to this. I really thought this was a great question. This is also from Rob Skeen, one of our patrons. You can be a patron at patreon.com/NYYST. How do you see Andujar's role continuing to play out?
Like, and this is what I just wanted to say. So I want to give a shout out to Rob for leaving the question, but championship teams don't have Miguel Andujar playing left field for them.
No, but here's what I'll say, and this is why I wanted to get to this question so bad. What are you starting to see from Miguel Andujar? A
That
guy
he
who
can't play
started.
left field.
Okay, well, first of all, let's put that aside. You're seeing the guy that we saw a few years ago getting
He,
consistent at bats and starting to hit the ball up the
he's
middle.
been a little bit better. Yeah, he
Dude, a
hasn't.
lot better.
He
A
hasn't
lot
got.
better.
No, I wouldn't say a lot. He's been better.
He's been a lot better, Christian.
Well,
If
he
you
was
watch his
batting. He
swings,
was batting 0, and now he's not. So I
if
guess
you
yes, we
watch
can.
his swings, he's staying through the ball, putting it up the middle, and he's becoming the guy that he was a few years ago. And within a week's time, you will start to see more extra base hits from this guy. You will start to see him put some more pop behind the ball and hit a few out. You're gonna see the Miguel Andujar who should have won Rookie of the Year a few years ago. And it's going to be tough to justify taking him out of this lineup when you have Clint Frazier before yesterday. I don't know what it is now, but he was batting what, 149? I mean, it's very tough to justify taking a guy like Andujar out when he's starting to see consistent pitching and putting the bat on the ball in a big way.
But is it when he can't play the position, Chris? Like,
Dude, he first of all, I'm not saying he can, but he made a great play out there the other day. He did.
it was yesterday, and he should have dropped the ball.
He should have. But again, it's a great play. Now he made more mistakes than good.
Frazier's up to
than good plays? Yes.
171, and Andujar's up to 191.
Okay, so I just want to go through real quick over the last few games here, because if you take into account his last handful of at bats, Andujar's been pretty damn good.
He took an offer yesterday.
Okay, he went 0 for 4 yesterday. Let me go to the game before when they won 7-0. He went, where the hell is he? Okay, he got a hit and an RBI. Game before that, you go here, they only won 2-1, but I believe he had a couple hits. So went 2 for 3. I mean, over the last handful, it's not even just the amount of hits, it's the balls he's hitting. He's hitting them up the middle, and he's putting good wood on the ball. And that's, it went 2 for 4 the game before that in Texas. I mean, he's starting to put together some good at bats. Look, like I said, if Clint Frazier is going to continue to go out there and hit the ball the way he did yesterday, then that's a different story. But if he's not, I mean, you gotta keep guys in there who are hitting the ball, because your offense just isn't scoring enough runs. Plain and simple.
Yeah, which is another reason why they're not scoring a lot of runs. So again, you want to play good defense too. You don't want to leave runs out on the field. But
well, here's what blows my mind, right? We just talked about Judge DHing. You have an opportunity right now to use Miguel Andujar as a DH as his back gets hot and not have him as a liability in the outfield. But for some reason, you're just not throwing Judge in the outfield anymore. You're short on outfielders, and you're not playing one of the best right fielders, if not the best right fielder in the game, in his position.
Yeah, and whatever they're doing with him is working right now, so I don't really want to mess with it.
I guess so. But at the same time, man, you can't tell me this guy's a super. Just like I say that Garrett Cole is getting paid to be able to throw to any catcher, you can't sit here and tell me Aaron Judge is the face of the team and a superstar, yet the guy needs to DH now.
Why? David Ortiz was.
And it's working. No, but David Ortiz was never one of the best at his positions. Tell me a better defensive right fielder than Aaron Judge. Tell me right now.
Okay, I understand your point, but your first point was that he can't be the face of the team and be a DH, which is not true.
Right now, for what Aaron Judge is the face of this team for, no, he can't. He needs to be out there, especially when, first of all, we are in a situation where I guess Giancarlo Stanton's just going to get hurt all the time every year. But like, you're in a position where Stanton's here for the long haul, and he's the DH. You have to pick and choose. Like you're saying, yeah, it's working right now, but who cares what's working right now? This isn't reality. He's not a DH. Make it work with him in the outfield. What's going on with Aaron Judge that they're so scared to play him in the outfield right now?
This is just a plan right now. They can give him
a shitty plan.
It's not a shitty plan. Tell me how it's not working.
Because Christian, here's why I go against all this shit. Okay. Because you want to sit here and say, oh, it's working and he's the DH and that's working for him. That's not what you need to work. I don't care that it's working right now. This isn't what I need to work. What I need to work is him being the right fielder every day and also hit the ball.
No,
so
I need
yeah,
his
it's
bat
a
in the
great
lineup.
Band-Aid. It's a great Band-Aid right now, but it's not the long-term solution.
Right. So it's not going to be a long-term solution because at some point John Carlos Stanton will come back.
Right. And then
Maybe.
what? And then what? Judge just goes back to playing like shit because he has to play the outfield and
Who
get
said
used to
he's going
that
to play
again.
like shit? But if you can save miles on him because of what we've seen
Come on,
happen to him, why don't you do it right now?
Jesus. I mean, come on.
We're talking about somebody that's
What's
had
the
issues
difference if
staying
you're
on.
saving miles on him now or later? I mean, he's got to go back out there and play every day.
Right. So
So,
wouldn't you
so
want
what? We're
him a
just
little?
gonna let it go out there and
Wouldn't
that's it.
wouldn't you want to be a little bit
Uh,
fresher and healthier come October?
Stanton's healthy again. The experiment's over. Let's throw Judge out there. Oh, he's hurt. No, how about go out there, get your body fucking ready to not get hurt anymore. Like sitting him on the bench is just making his body less durable. Go
That's your
out
opinion.
there. Excuse me?
That's your opinion.
Is what they've been doing working for Aaron Judge? He's sore every other day.
He's missed like 3 games this year.
Come on, man. Just give me a break.
No, I'm
He's the
not going to
starting
give you a
right
break.
fielder
No,
for
no,
this
no,
team.
listen to me. And
He's the
reason
starting
why I'm
right
not
fielder for this team. He's not the DH of this team.
right
Okay?
now, why I'm not going to give you a break on this is because whatever has happened in the past has clearly not worked for him staying healthy and staying on the field. So why don't we try something different and see if we can
Because
keep his
what you're
bat in
trying is not reality. Can he stay
they
DH?
have an
Are you gonna throw Stanton out there?
apparently not because the guy can't even run the second base without getting
Listen,
hurt.
I'm agreeing with you. It's a great band-aid. It's a great band-aid, but it's not
Well,
a
if the
solution.
opportunity is presenting itself to you right now to be able to play a little safer with him, why not take the opportunity?
Because
I
I don't want to
agree.
play safe with my superstar. I want him to prove to me that he can play every day in the outfield.
Okay, and right now this is what they're doing, and I don't have a problem with it because
Fine.
his bat is way more important than him playing right field, and you can't say that it's not. We understand that he's a great right fielder, but you cannot tell me that him playing right field is more important than keeping him in the lineup to take 4 to 5 bats every day.
Understood. But my point is, this is my superstar. And if I'm doing this with my superstar, he's not that much of a superstar that I'm scared to throw him in his position that he's probably the best at in the entire league
Well,
because I'm scared he's going to get hurt.
if he puts up MVP type numbers, which he's on pace to do right now, he's a superstar. So what do you want? What are we really arguing here? You want him to play every game in right field, and perfect world, I do too. But they have
I
an
didn't say every
opportunity.
game. I didn't say every game.
No, yeah, I know what you're saying, but in a perfect world, he should be in the outfield, especially right now when they seem to be shorthanded out there. Because I mean, wasn't the outfield in the fucking no hitter Andujar, fucking Gardner, and Tyler Wade? I mean,
Yeah.
come on,
And
Jesus
Tyler,
Christ.
let me tell you something. Did you not hold your breath when that ball was hit to Tyler Wade?
And credit Tyler Wade.
Seriously,
He
got a great jump.
his speed is the reason he caught that. Maybe Aaron Judge might not even get to that ball, to be honest with
Maybe
you.
not. Maybe not. Judge is faster than we give him credit for when he really turns it on. But yeah, man. I mean, when that ball was hit, I was like, "Fuck, there you go."
And somebody
Over.
should have punched Tyler Wade in the face yesterday.
Why?
Like
What
dead
happened?
punched him in the face.
With what?
Because in the ninth inning, he's up in the fucking count 3-0. He should be taking 3 fucking pitches.
Yeah. We talked about this. We talk about this all the time. Did you I really am so mad at myself for not pulling the audio on the Garrett Cole when Brian Hoke asked him if anyone talked about the
I
Kluber no
heard it. It
hitter
was
mid
great.
game, and he starts laughing and he said he was kind of making a joke to Hoke, and Hoke was saying no, I didn't mean bring it up to Kluber, I just meant do any of the guys talk about it in the dugout, and he said one guy came up to me and didn't realize what was going on. And he goes, man, he's pitching great. He might be able to hand the ball right over to Chapman.
It was definitely Gary Sanchez.
You think it was? You think it was? I don't think Gary talks to Cole. I think he's still mad at him. I don't know.
That's true.
But it was such a good audio clip. I wish I pulled it. Nicholas Baresi, another patron, great supporter of ours, has one more topic. Do you want to bring it up now, or do you have something
Sure,
else?
why not? Go ahead.
All right. He said it's more of a topic, but he wants to know, maybe you guys can share all your personal experience. That guy is yanking right now, so he's not here. Personal experiences of what it was like to step foot into Yankee Stadium for the first time to watch a ball game. Every fan can relate.
I don't know, dude. I was 5 years old. I don't really remember. So,
Well, I'll tell you here's the thing. I don't know if I can tell you my very first experience, but there was something different about the old stadium, and it wasn't just the shaking of the crowd. and the noise. There was something different walking through through every stadium nowadays, and some of the younger listeners won't even know what we're talking about because it changed so quick. But all the stadiums now, all the modern stadiums, like you walk in through the gates and it's just open, right? You see everything. But in the old stadium, if you've never been there, you walk through, you got the program here, right? You got to buy a fucking program from this guy just because he'll harass you the whole game if you don't. And then you're walking through, you don't see anything until you start walking to your seats through that like little tunnel. And then you walk through and you see the grass and the field for the first fucking time of the year. And it was the best fucking feeling in the world. You don't get that at the new stadium or any new stadiums anymore, really. And that's
Look,
that's the my number one experience of like going to a game. That would be it for me.
like the only thing like when I initially saw you send that, I thought maybe he was talking about like going back this year. You haven't been back yet, and I really suggest that you try to
Yeah,
get
I know.
you try to get out there. Um, all I can say is that like my dad started taking me to games when I was like 5 years old, so I really don't remember like my first time going to Yankee Stadium. Like all I can say is that this past Sunday when I went, it was a very surreal experience because of everything that happened, and we didn't know, like honestly dude, there was a point where you really didn't know what was going on. You didn't know if you were ever going to be able to go to professional sporting events again. Like obviously like everything's cleared up,
Yeah.
we're on the
To be
right
fair
track
to you
now.
though, shit gets so blown out of proportion. Like things get so irrational sometimes that you didn't even know. You didn't know when the fuck that was going to happen that you can go back to the stadium.
So I got taken away from us last year, and in this last year I became a dad. Like yeah, listeners to the show know that. So like now it was different. Like obviously my kid wasn't there. She's a year old. I'm not gonna bring her to a game when she's a fucking year old, especially when people are still probably carrying around COVID and shit. Like I'm not gonna be an asshole and take that risk. Um, but just being able to go to Yankee Stadium and knowing that like you're there, like it was. I didn't cry. Like I don't want people to think I was fucking
You
crying, but
fucking
like
cried. You
I
teared up.
didn't cry. I swear to God, I didn't cry. But like, it was a little emotional walking in there because like you hadn't been there in 2 years. Everything that's gone on in the world. I became a dad, and like,
Something you take for granted that you don't realize you're taking for granted.
I walked into the team store, right, and I'm like, it hit me like you're not here to buy yourself something. Like you're here because you bringing a um a souvenir home for your daughter, and that was fuck.
Which is very different for you because you're a fucking collector. So when you would go to games, you're like a fucking 3 year old. You would buy everything. People would think you had a daughter at the time or a son, but really you're just buying it for your man cave. So it's a very different experience for you.
So to be able to go to a baseball game, to go watch the team that you've rooted for, like let's be honest, like we don't hold things back here. Like we're very open and honest. Like people, if I
Yes.
probably said it here, like I don't have the greatest relationship with my dad, but one thing we've always bonded over was the Yankees. Like this is like that so like you have a relationship with your dad because of the Yankees. It's your first like it's your first love. Like yeah, you love your daughter, your wife, whatever, blah blah,
Whatever.
more
Whatever.
whatever. But that's your first love is the Yankees, right? So now as a dad, that's what you want to pass on to your kid. You want to pass on your love of this team to your kid. And now you're going there to bring something home for them. It was
It's
to me
surreal.
it was special, dude. I'm not gonna lie. It was really special to be able to do that. And she fucking loves that monkey. I mean, she's been playing with it for 2 days now. So that was really cool. I bought her a foam finger. I bought her a couple of t-shirts, and she's huge into Minnie Mouse. You know that. They didn't have any Minnie Mouse shit, but they had a Mickey Mouse magnet, and she likes playing with magnets. So I bought all that shit. Um, I was gonna get her a bat, but I was like, I don't know.
Mm,
This is
she'll
fucking
fucking use it to beat you over the fucking head with.
this might be dangerous. I said we'll save that for when she's old enough to
if she
Become.
grows up as a Red Sox fan, she has daddy issues, and that's really
No,
what it
we
comes
were
down
we
to.
were talking about that on the way home, and I said, and I told my I was like, listen, I love my daughter more than anything, but if she brought home a Red Sox fan, I would kick her out of the house.
Absolutely.
I was like, I didn't. I said to him, I was like, I was envisioning, like you envision things, and I said, I said, I didn't waste the last 16 years of my life raising you for you to do this to me. Get the fuck out.
Absolutely. I mean, would you rather your daughter bring home a guy who just has his life all just a fucking mess?
Bring
Not
home a meth head before you bring home a Red Sox.
100%. One, that's all I'm getting at this point. I'll have more respect for you at that point. As long as he likes the Yankees.
Yeah, I mean, shoot your fucking meth up, dude.
Whatever you
And
got to do, just don't come into my fucking home and tell me you want to date my daughter and you're a fucking Red Sox fan. Okay?
so yeah, I mean, like if you really want to share a first time experience, the first time back, with everything that's happened in the past year, like I'll never forget yesterday. And like we were, and it's weird because you're sitting there, right? And they're up 3-0. Peralta gives up the home run, and you're saying to
Mm,
yourself, this fucking team
team, they're going to fucking
cannot,
blow another sweep.
they can't sweep for shit, right? And then they get the cheap run,
Wasn't
and
that
then
Judge's first walk off too? What a cheap fucking first walk off.
they get that cheap run. They're up 4-2. Green gives up a fucking home run. Now it's 4-3, and you're like, in comes Chapman, and I'm like saying to myself, this motherfucker.
This is going to be the game.
Because if you really look, if you've been watching him the last couple of outings, he's been teetering
Yeah.
on blowing the game.
Yeah.
Because Friday night when they turned a triple play, which was fucking awesome that they did that shit,
Phenomenal.
he would have blown the game if they don't turn a triple play.
Oh, for sure. And what was the game? It was the game before that, I believe. He threw the ball and they came out. They thought he was injured. I think it was something with his finger. They ended up saying.
Yeah.
So maybe
his
something's
nail-
going on there because you gotta admit, as fast as he's still throwing, when he has that fucking slider and the splitter, whatever, that's when he is on a different fucking planet lately. So
They said that
maybe
he's not
something's going
hurt.
on there. Yeah,
They
but
said
he's
that he's
playing
not
through
hurt. But it's either the tip of his finger or the nail or something's bothering him where he can't put the pressure on the ball to get the break on it.
Yeah, which is huge. I mean, if you can't, that's why. Like, if the Yankees offense needs to really step up here and try and get through this series, blowing out a couple of these games and not having to go to him. Let him get a little more time off to heal that thing because Chapman blowing games is not fun. I mean, he's been so much fun to fucking watch this year. To see him kind of flaking off here, it's not fun.
But you knew he wasn't going to have a 0 ERA all year. So I
No.
mean, like,
Hey, they
and
still
then
won.
look, and then that's what I'm saying, dude. Everybody was getting into the game in the bottom of the ninth inning. It wasn't like the stadium was deflated. They were getting into it. Uh, you know, I really like, dude. I wanted to see somebody punch Tyler Wade in the face. He got so fucking lucky that he's fast and was able to get the ball past right. We went past the pitcher.
Yeah.
And he was able to beat it out.
Mhm.
Why are you fucking swinging the bat, Tyler?
No, don't swing. If you have seriously, this is not a joke. If Tyler Wade in any situation has a 3-0 count, he needs to take 3 pitches. I don't care if he strikes out with the bat on his shoulders. Take 3 pitches, Tyler. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, so, but it, like you said, dude, but the thing is, it was like, I don't know, it was like a fart in church or something. I guess that's an expression people use. Like, it
Yeah, if
just
you were
kind of
born
like,
in 1974.
it was just kind of like something that happened, and you're like, okay, like it kind of did take a little bit of the air out of the room when Judge walks. It's like, yeah, we won, but like, okay,
You
like
kind of
I
you were
want.
hoping for like a fucking hit up the middle or something.
Even a sack fly, I think, would have been a lot better in that
Yeah.
situation.
But you know what? Like I said, you'll take any fucking win you can get right now. This team went from how many games under 500? What was the low? 6 games under?
No, 5.
They were 5 games under 500 and since going into the Detroit series, they are 17-5 with a long fucking road trip in there where they went 7-3. That is fucking phenomenal, man.
In a longer stretch, I believe the Yankees are 20. They're 23-9 since their low
Wow.
water mark,
And
which is the
and
best
dude,
record in baseball.
are they even playing that like even close to their potential right
And
now?
right, and when have you sat there and watched and said this team is clicking on all
A
cylinders,
couple games they have, I gotta say. A
but
couple
not
games they have,
consistently?
but not consistently. And when that fucking happens, watch out. Watch out. I tweeted this when the Yankees were 5 games under 500, and I can't wait till midsummer when I can retweet it. And I said, I can't wait for midsummer to watch all these Yankee fans on Twitter react when the New York Yankees have the best record in the American League. It's coming. It will happen. And this team is going to be the team to beat.
Well, here's what I tweeted last night after I made fun of Craig Kimbrell for being a loser.
Loser.
I said I don't care how bad the 5-10 start was. It was silly to say you're done or that or the season is over. Baseball is too long to make those proclamations after 15 games. 32 games later, the Yankees are essentially tied for first place and just went through the rotation without allowing a run.
Correct. Correct.
So I mean, it's been a great run that they've been on, and now you don't expect to go through the rotation again without allowing a run. So now you want to see the bats wake up. Like the Yankees just swept the White Sox and they hit 2 home runs in the series at home. That's crazy.
Crazy.
And
I
one of
mean,
them was
it's a good thing too.
and that was one of them was a garbage time home run from Mike Ford, the king of garbage.
King of fucking garbage. Michael K was so shocked at that home run that he didn't even know what to say, and that takes a lot for Michael K to be speechless for a minute. That takes a lot. That ball was fucking
No, that was crushed.
crushed, crushed. I didn't think Mike Ford had that in him. Actually,
He's got. I mean, if he ever makes contact where he's not popping up to the third baseman, he's got power. I mean, it's what they've always liked about him. But you got to think about Ford and Wade in the sense is that, like they say, that cockroaches can survive a nuclear war.
right? That's him.
That's those two guys because uh, when Gleyber Torres got came off the COVID IL, you were thinking, okay, one of them's got to go, right? And
Right.
then Rougned Odor had a kid.
And he survives. And he
So
survives.
they survive. And then you're like, okay, Odor's only gonna be gone a day or two. Somebody's got to go. And Ryan Lamar winds
yeah.
up on the fucking IL.
Yeah. Maybe for the best. Maybe for the best.
So they survive again.
Maybe for the
So
best, man.
it was like we said, it was a good weekend. Yankees sweep, 6-game winning streak. The Blue Jays are in town. The Blue Jays got swept 4 games by the Rays. So I mean they're going to be coming in looking to right the ship a little bit. They lost a lot of the games because of their bullpen. Couldn't, they were blowing games late. And when last time we saw them, their bullpen was like unhittable. So we'll see what happens there. We'll take a look ahead here, unless you got anything else from the patrons or anything else you want to touch on.
No, man. Not for me. I'm good. I'm wiped out.
So the Blue Jays are coming into the Bronx Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for a 3-game series. All 7:05 starts. So Chris says he's going to do a Patreon Wednesday. Maybe I'll do one. No, Chris says you're going to say you're going to do one Tuesday night.
See.
So I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try Wednesday and Thursday. Maybe one of the 2 days. I'm not sure because we can't because they're all 7 o'clock starts. It's gonna be hard. It's just scheduling wise. We can't do a full show
Yeah.
at that point. So um, maybe I'll save mine to wrap up the series on Thursday unless something I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I'll definitely do one. Chris says he's gonna do one. So we'll have some bonus content on Patreon this week from the both of us.
And
Tomorrow,
apparently SGR has some stuff in the works too.
fuck you,
Okay.
Ezekiel.
Ezekiel.
All right, so to start the series off, Corey Kluber is going to take the mound for the first time since his no hitter because Corey Kluber is a starting pitcher.
Kluber.
All right, so here's what I'm going to do right here. Okay.
Okay.
I mentioned 4 different things that I bought my daughter when I went to the game
I
on
only heard
Sunday.
one. I only heard one of them.
You only heard one of them, and I'm only going to, and it's a very specific one I'm going to say right here. I told you, I said that mentioned that the first thing that I mentioned is something that I gave her and she's loved it and she's played for it for the past couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
If you can be the first person to DM me what that item is, I will send you our brand new Corey Kluba is a starting pitcher
Starting
t-shirt.
pitcher.
Okay.
Starting
So we're gonna
pitcher.
reward you for listening to the show. You you tell me what that item is, DM me at Chris underscore NYYST. Be the first person to do it, and I'd have the time receipts to find out. We'll send you a Corey Kluba is a starting pitcher t-shirt. So we're gonna
Has
reward
the
you for
stat line on there and the date.
we're gonna reward you for listening to the show here. You know, and I might do it again next week. We're gonna reward you for listening to the show. You know, we're
Let's
gonna
do
pick
it.
out something that a detail that you pick up during the show. You send us a DM. First one, boom, get some merch. So we said Corey Kluba is a
Corey
starting pitcher.
Kluba.
And his first start since the no hitter, he's going to take on ex Met Steven Matz, who I mean the Yankees should really kick the shit out of him.
Loser.
They really should kick the shit out of him.
Didn't he pitch against them this year already?
Yeah, he probably pitched a perfect game. That
Probably
was
perfect game. Yeah, probably one of the no hitters.
so the Jays are calling up their top pitching prospect, whose name escapes me at the moment, but
Manoa or something. Manoa.
yeah, Alec
Something
Manoa or something like.
fucking stupid.
So he's gonna pitch Wednesday, and he gave an interview. A cup. I don't know when the interview was from, but somebody asked him, what would who does he want to face the most, or who does he want to strike out the most in Major League Baseball when he makes his debut? And he said the entire Yankees lineup. Okay.
Doable,
Okay.
but let's fucking bash his fucking brains in
Okay.
instead. How's that sound?
So Herman will take the ball, and Herman's sporting a 3.05 ERA. So I mean, again, dude, whatever happened to him when he got sent to the alternate site, he's gotten his head on straight since then.
Yeah, you know what? It would be such a. I'd have to imagine if he goes like 6 scoreless, he's gonna have a sub 3 ERA,
Obviously.
and man, like look at this fucking rotation right now. Look at the ERAs outside of Montgomery and Tyone, who really Montgomery's inflated because he's had a couple really bad starts, but for the most part, Montgomery's been really good. And Tyone's got to put it together still. I mean, he's definitely going to be a work in progress, but this starting rotation has a lot of potential right now, and it could only get better once Sevy gets back.
Yeah, and the series is going to close out on Thursday with Robbie Ray against Jordan Montgomery. So both teams are going to miss each other's aces. No Hyunjin Ryu and no Garrett Cole in this series. So, hey, man, you know what? Again, you know, the the Jays are scuffling. I'm sure they're going to want to come in here and play well. The Yankees haven't played well against the Blue Jays yet this year. I mean, let's look at it. They lost the opening series 2-1. They lost it. Then they went to Dunedin. They lost 2-1, and then we haven't seen them since.
Yeah, I mean, this is a different team right now.
This is now where the Yankees have to correct course and start playing better baseball against division rivals.
Mhm.
So, I mean, again, gonna harp on the same thing we harp on every time we record. Win the series, stack
Yeah.
series wins,
Keep going.
win the series. Okay.
Keep it going.
So there is one thing that I wanted to touch on before we wrapped up, and it just hit me, and I do want to bring it up here. Uh, we know where it came from, whatever. I don't care. But Brian Cashman gave a quote a couple days ago when he was asked what was going to happen with Luis Severino when he came back, and he said that Luis Severino's role on this team was going to be based on how the rotation was starting. That if he needs to be a starter, he'll be a starter. If he needs to come out of a bullpen, he needs to come out of a bullpen.
Mm,
I don't think you, just based on your action, I don't think you really care for that.
I don't. I don't.
So if the Yankees, we're still probably looking at least another month and a half before we can even realistically think about this. If this team is still pitching to this level, who do you bump?
Yeah, I mean, look, it it's a better thing than not for these guys to make pulling them from the rotation unjustifiable, right? Like if you're sitting here saying you can't justify taking anyone out, that's a good thing. There's only one guy, in my opinion, that is the odd man out, and that's Jordan Montgomery. But again, if he's going to throw in starts the way he has been, it's going to be tough to pull him. But you can't go into Sevy coming back saying, oh, maybe he's a starter, maybe he's a bullpen guy. You got to find starts for him, and it's got to be his job to lose. I'm sorry, he's too good. He's too good if he's healthy. He's too good to say right off the bat that he's not a starting pitcher in this rotation. That's where I have issues with it. I understand what Cashman's saying, and I think it's logical. But at the same time, man, Luis Severino, if he can come back and be Luis Severino, he's got to be a starting pitcher for you.
Yeah, I agree to an extent, but imagine being able to deploy him as a weapon coming out of the bullpen.
Yeah, but how many weapons do you really need? Again, let's just talk about this for a second, real quick. What are you using him for, first of all? Just a quick answer. Don't go into depth with it. What are in your mind? What is deploying him as a weapon to you? Is that a long reliever? Is that a fire extinguisher type
No, I don't
role?
think I use him as a fire extinguisher. I give him clean 2 innings.
Okay, but okay. So how many times have the Yankees truly needed a clean 2 innings out of a guy that they don't have a guy out there that can do that for you? And so my point is really is you're taking a guy who has so much value as a starting
This is
pitcher
an
if
this
he's
is an
healthy.
this is an October move. You're not going
Okay,
to go to like yesterday. They got 5 innings out of Tyone. They wanted to go to the bullpen. Fine. You're not going to go to fucking Wandy Peralta
look,
as decent as he's been in
yeah,
October. Wouldn't you rather be able to go to Severino in that spot
look. If you're
and go?
telling me that Corey Kluber is going to pitch the way he has been for the most part for the rest of this season and truly solidify the number 2 spot in this rotation as we predicted on the show, and then you're going to tell me in
Why is that?
October
Because Corey Kluber is a starting
starting
pitcher.
pitcher. And then you're going to tell me that because you have such a solid 1 and 2 in October, you're going to use Sevy as a weapon out of the bullpen. I am 100% all for it. 100%. But if you don't have now, you got to talk Herman too. Is really, I mean, if he has another good start here, he's neck and neck with Corey Kluber. He really is. I mean, he's been that good. So you're building up 3 guys now who really you can't justify not starting in the playoffs, then fine. But I got to still see how strong Sevy comes back. Maybe the Yankees just aren't expecting him to be the guy that they can rely on to go out there and take the ball for 6 innings. By the time he's coming back in the season, maybe they don't think there's enough time for him to really build up to be that guy this year. And instead they're going to just use him as a weapon. And then I'm fine with it.
And you also got to look at situations of other guys in the bullpen. Is that are you going to trust Jonathan Loizaga all the way through October? You're putting an unprecedented amount of stress on this guy.
Sure.
It's a new. I mean, look, you hope that he comes through with it in flying colors, and so far he's been really good. He's had a couple of hiccups, but I mean, he's been the guy that Boone's going to when he
Yeah.
doesn't have Chapman
Well, look,
available.
you're starting to see guys come back down to earth a little bit. Jonathan Loizaga being one of them, and it's not so much his stuff as it is that command that really has always plagued him the first couple years that he came up here. You're starting to see him lose a little bit of that command, and then the second he loses that, he is a completely different pitcher. He's completely hittable. You know, he's guys are seeing the ball much better out of his hand when he doesn't have command because they're waiting on certain pitches and they're not swinging and missing over his junk and he becomes a guy who you can't really rely on the way you were in the first half of the season so far.
And now look, granted, if the pitching holds up to this level that it's been, which we don't expect, but if even if it's better, it's decent, where guys are giving you consistent 6, 7 inning outings, maybe this is a different conversation. But
Maybe.
we've seen in the past couple of years, the Yankees get to October, not obviously not last year because there was only 60 games, but take a year like 2019, they get to October, these guys' arms are shot, they're gassed because they pitched so many innings in the regular season. Now, you're going to insert Britain into this, but also wouldn't you like in a situation like this, you say to yourself, you know, it's going to take X to stretch out Sevy, and by that time, what are we going to get 2 starts out
That's
of
what
him?
I'm
So
saying. That's what I'm saying. Maybe they feel like he's coming back so late in the year at this point that they won't have enough time to build him up. So why not use him the way they best can for this
So you
season.
keep Miles off of maybe Chapman's arm, Loiza's arm, Green's arm. You know,
And
it's
we've seen Sevy out of the bullpen, and he's pretty fucking dominant.
when Severino doesn't have to worry about pacing himself. I mean, look, he I don't want him to become a long-term reliever. I think in 2021 he should be the legitimate number 2 behind Garrett Cole, even a 1A. You know, that's your hope for him. But when he doesn't have to pace himself, when he can just go out there, balls out and throw,
He was
I
at
mean
his best.
he's a completely different guy. So um
I'll
we'll
say
s-
that I'll say this just last thing to wrap that thought up. I think here's all it will take for Severino to come back as a bullpen guy. It won't even take Jordan Montgomery being great or good. I mean, he's got to be good, obviously, but all it will take is Jordan Montgomery to continue to go out and pitch innings. If Jordan Montgomery, more times than not, can pitch you through the 6th inning and hand the ball over in the 7th, whether that be giving up 3 runs, 4 runs, here and there, maybe throwing in a couple shitty starts. But if he can eat innings for you and be somewhat effective throughout that, they're not going to mess with that. They're going to leave a guy in there who they know can give them 6 innings more times than not, instead of trying to build Sevy up and working through a progression where he's only giving you 3 innings, 4 innings, 5, and then by the end of it, it's fucking October.
because you know another thing I don't want to sit through right now, especially at that point in the season, is having to work 2 guys now. I
Yeah.
think Corey Kluber's at a point where we're fine with
Yep.
him. It's okay.
Yep.
Even though I think the Yankees had a quote like, "Oh, we're still gathering data whether or not Corey Kluber can sustain this for the full season." Well, which that's fucking stupid because
Yeah.
what the
I
hell
gained the
just
data. I gained
yeah,
it. It's called a no hitter.
if your concern is that, then why the hell just sign the guy in the first
Yeah.
place?
Come on.
Number one, and Jameson Tyone is still a fucking project, and I'm not saying that they shouldn't have traded for him,
No, no. He's just a project.
but
That's
he's a
all.
project right now. So let's not have 2 projects in the
No,
rotation.
I agree.
And that's another reason why we go back to saying if something comes along that makes sense to add more good starting pitching to this team, you do it.
Yep.
So you know what? I do. I have a lot of respect for Jameson Tyone for what he came back from, 2 Tommy Johns, the cancer, everything. But I'm trying to win a World Series this year. So if I can bring somebody in where your role is basically non-existent for the rest of the year, I'm sorry, but we have you next year, and we'll see you. We'll see you then, right?
See you then.
All right, and we'll see you probably. I don't know. It's Memorial Day weekend. We'll see what we can. We'll still record Sunday night, right?
Yeah. Come on,
I
bro.
might be fucked up though.
Good. I like that.
I'm going to a barbecue. I might be fucked up.
Nice. Me too.
So we'll see. We'll definitely get something going
Yeah.
either.
We got it.
Because the Yankees are playing a day game on Memorial Day. So if we're too fucked up to record Sunday night, we'll record after the game
Yeah.
on Monday
We'll see
night.
how this
So,
goes. Releasing on Tuesday. Maybe we'll do a Monday night show that night.
all right. So we'll definitely be back sometime after the Detroit series, either Sunday night or Monday. I don't know who the hell's going to be wanting to listen to us fucking jerk offs after
Yeah.
on Memorial Day anyway. So
Yeah, come on.
we'll see how that goes. But thank you for listening to episode 234 of the NYYST podcast. Please follow us on Twitter at NYY Sports Talk. Chris, tell them where they can be a patron again.
Patreon.com/NYYST.
All right, $5 a month. You get all the bonus content. You get uh, you get discounts on merch and a whole bunch of other shit that we're working on. So please support us there. Thank you very much for listening. Chris, say goodbye.
Peace.